Yeah, so MTA chair in New Jersey to respond to congestion pricing lawsuit claiming that it will increase pollution. Elected officials came head to head with the MTA this week as further discussions on perceived hindrance and benefits of congestion pricing continue throughout the metropolitan area. New Jersey sued the federal government in order to mitigate the MTA's plan to increase congestion pricing for going into effect. It specifically relates to charging motorists more for driving around the southern portions of the 60th Street in Manhattan, along with decreasing traffic around lower Manhattan, which could lead to improvements in safer air quality. Supporters of this pricing believe. This could also mean traffic around lower Manhattan could flow into New Jersey or other parts of New York City. Governor Phil Murphy has opposed the pricing, saying the traffic from NYC could bring pollution and traffic throughout the Garden State. Lawsuits aim to bring immediate stop to the MTA's plans to be implemented during spring 2024. If the court cannot have an impact on the pricing, the focus will be on New York to provide funds for a medical monitoring program related to the asthma, which may arise from the pricing increase. Supporters of the pricing stand their ground, saying people who live in New Jersey will have faster commutes from New Jersey Transit to MTA and will receive overall better transportation impacts.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, the you know the I can definitely see where the MTA chair is coming from in the way that it's kind of impossible to get rid of traffic. You can't
Sure.
just stop traffic by charging people to drive on a certain road and
Mm-hmm.
expecting that the traffic will go away because these cars are still driving. It's not stopping people from driving. It's not, I mean, maybe it will push some people more to public transportation,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact of it is that a lot of this traffic could come into New Jersey and could come uh, on our highways and roads, just like uh, the MTA chair is saying.
Mm-hmm.
And, if that happens, that will just push the problem somewhere else instead of it being in lower Manhattan where there's a lot
Yeah.
of traffic. Well, instead, there's just going to be a lot of traffic in North Jersey.
And no, what were you gonna say, Alex? What were
Um,
you gonna say?
I
You
don't
know-
know if
no, it's kind of gross. For New York to be doing this, I don't like my Jersey being all polluted, full of smog and stuff like that.
Mhm.
My New Jersey is clean, and we don't need. It's already cost $16 to get to the city, and that's and you go through the tunnel or you go through the
Yep.
bridge. It's $16, and then they're gonna charge an extra bit of money. Don't drive on a road. It's
No, you're right.
just
Does
a
seem
good old
little
Uncle
bit-
Sam getting his hands in our pockets.
No, you're right, Alex. Like that's really relates to the frustration behind people who might not be in favor of this proposed plan for congestion pricing. That's what what you were talking about relates to, right? And you're right. I mean, we can imagine like the traffic from Manhattan probably won't only spread to New Jersey. It probably will spread to other boroughs of New York City, and there sometimes, especially during rush hour, is already pretty bad, right? And also, you said, Alex, that your New Jersey is like clean,
My
right?
clean New Jersey.
Well, around where,
Not around the city.
well, yeah, exactly. Like I'm saying, like
You got the
as we-
Hudson, that's the third most polluted river.
No. As we approach more around New York City, we approach that more industrialized area with a lot of ports, a lot of ports for steamboats and
Steamboat?
yes, cargo ships, steamboats. They let
There's steam?
I don't know, cargo ships. That's what I'm cargo ships. But those that add that they're part of that that concept of like possible pollution, right? Because you have to have a bunch of trucks bring the cargo to these ports and then load them onto the boats. And it's a job. It's part of the
You
industry,
go
right?
towards Newark area, and you got
Kidding me?
the
You kidding me?
Newark. You go to where
Yeah, I know.
where all the cargo holds. It's like one of the single most polluted areas.
Yeah. So we can imagine, if this does go into effect, that will probably, I don't know, like magnify or increase the amount of not only traction around that area, but also, the chemical, like like emitting of chemicals, right? Like letting off of chemicals, the use of different types of chemicals in those in a bunch of factories. So
Phil's got us.
what?
Mr. Murphy's got us.
I mean, yeah, no, I mean,
I
governor,
trust him.
as the governor, as the article said, Governor Phil Murphy is actively trying to fight against this, and then New York City itself, some elected officials are also, behind that fight against congestion pricing. But as we said before, we will continue to be keeping you updated here on the Morning Buzz whether or not it goes into effect, because it's supposed to go into effect early next year, like in the spring, right? And speaking about discussions going on in the world of transportation, we're going to move into everyday, types of coffee shops related to Starbucks, where there is some discussion going on there as well related to unions. According to NJ.com, thousands of unionized Starbucks baristas will walk off the job on the coffee chain's Red Cup Day, which is slated for Thursday, tomorrow. The one-day strike comes as the union says the company has refused to resolve staffing and scheduling issues during the promotional events. Starbucks executives say that the union has refused to negotiate and has not met to sign a contract agreement for months. The union, specifically named Workers United, represents more than 360 unionized stores and over 9,000 Starbucks workers, according to the Starbucks Workers United website. It's not the first time that Starbucks' unionized employees have walked off the job on Red Cup Day. Last year, workers at more than 100 U.S. corporate-owned Starbucks walked off the job for one day on November 17th, 2022, the day of last year's Red Cup Day, to protest what they said was illegal retaliation against them forming a union. Wow, so when one strike ends, another one is just cooking up, it seems like, right?
Yes, and this this really relates to a story that we covered last week about how a lot of the Starbucks was changing their benefits, but only to benefit stores that were not unionized. But a story like this really just ties into the fact that even the baristas that are unionized, this idea that Starbucks has that sorry, wait.
No, okay.
I got my
It's okay.
words mixed up.
It's okay. No, it's okay.
But yeah, this story is showing another way that these unionized stores are coming together to fight for their workers' rights, and especially on a big day like this. If you don't know, Red Cup Day is this day at Starbucks where I'm pretty sure you buy either a specific drink or you buy a drink on that day. You get their special promotional holiday cup. So
really? Okay.
yeah,
okay.
so a
it's
lot
like,
of people will go to
will
this.
try to get the cup, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just causes a lot of people to come
a lot
to
of traction,
these.
right? A lot of
Yeah,
traction,
to show up to these to show up to this event. So it becomes kind of a nightmare for all of the workers, because not only are they now dealing with their usual daily annoyances of customers, but now it's that plus people wanting this cup. So it is understandable that this is a big day for them to strike, to walk out on, because this is a huge day in Starbucks revenue. So this is a huge day that would really it's definitely a big way for them to attack the company firsthand and show them just how they feel about their
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody's gonna be stopping at a Starbucks tomorrow. I want the cup.
Do you know how big it is, going by chance, or no?
The cup.
Like,
How big?
how big the cup is?
I have no idea.
How many
honestly.
ounces can it hold?
I have never participated in Red Cup
okay,
Day.
Okay.
But you know,
Well,
just you know, in case you were planning on going to this, you know, maybe keep an eye out because your Starbucks might be striking.
Okay, so it's
Hmm.
cup sized.
What do you mean is a cup size?
it's
There's
cup-
many cup
It's cup
size.
size.
I don't know, man. It's a coffee cup. It's a coffee cup.
How many
size.
ounces are we holding? 16 or 32?
I don't know. I'm on,
Like
I'm on
24.
eBay right now. Look at the one from last
Let's-
year.
What size is this?
It's a reusable cup?
16 ounces.
16 ounces. Okay, 16 ounces.
Hmm.
People love promotional things.
Yeah,
People love
that's true.
anything that is limited edition.
No, you're right, Gwen. Thank you. We appreciate you explaining that for us. Talking about, well, it seems like for this year's Red Cup Day, it seems like the unionized workers are putting their wages or their livelihood, with it related to their job ahead of promotional gains, right? And it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes with this specific industry, right? Just something as simple as everyday coffee, going into coffee shops on daily commute or anytime during the day, for people to get those wages, right, and get a beneficial type of work for them. And with that, we are going to be right back with more of the Morning Buzz.
The ADP Center for Learning Technologies is where
And welcome back to the Morning Buzz on 90.3 WMSC for Montclair. We're approaching holiday time next week around this time. Riley, can you tell us what's going on in the airline industry, the aviation industry, regarding holiday travel?
People throughout the United States are planning on flying from their families, to and from their families this holiday season, with the goal to have not a repeat of last year's Thanksgiving. Airports have been preparing for the busiest holiday traveling week in history. The Transportation Security Administration expects to screen over 30 million travelers between November 17th and 27th, which amounts to roughly 2.7 million passengers per day. During this time last year, there were widespread flight cancellations and delays due to weather conditions. This time around, there's been a shortage of traffic air controllers, with the National Transportation Safety Board's top official blaming it on the almost canceled flights at a White House conference. What is evident is the airlines need to be more air traffic controllers in a place to be mindful of weather hitting certain parts of the country where there may be constraints, said David Seymour, CEO of American Airlines. Cancellations have decreased to about 1.6% this year, but airlines are nonetheless bracing for impact.
Yeah, thank you for reading that, Riley. I think none of us have to fly home to our families this Thanksgiving holiday, right? We all live like in driving distance of each of them, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank goodness, because there's a lot of people you can imagine, specifically here at Montclair, who have to do that. Probably,
Yeah.
they probably live really, really low, a few hours at least away from their house, and the fastest way to get from point A to point B might be to fly. And when we put that into perspective, 2.7 million passengers per day are expected to fly on airplanes, basically, between this Friday and whatever day is the 27th. It's next Sunday, I think. That's a Sunday. Yeah.
You're pulling your calendar out, Ilana. If you can't see, he is currently checking the actual date.
So
of
Friday
the
the 17th to Monday the 27th. So that's the Monday when we come back from
I'm
Thanksgiving
so
break.
excited.
That would be the day where people go back to their homes.
I mean, they could come back on the Friday. They don't have to wait till Sunday.
You're right. No, you're right, Alex.
But people want to spend the most possible time they can with their families.
You know
You
what
know,
people want to do with their families. Just go and eat the food and get out.
Okay.
I second that.
No, it does.
No, I can't wait for Thanksgiving. I love it. It's my favorite holiday.
Yeah, it is a
Why?
great holiday.
What do you mean
What is
why?
good about Thanksgiving?
The food, the family,
The food,
football.
the food.
It's basically a day. Like, forgetting all the history aspect, it's a day where you get to spend time with your family.
Mhm.
Hopefully, you like your family. If you don't, then it's not your favorite holiday. But I enjoy time with my family. And then you get to sit around, you eat the best food, and it's the only time you can eat a whole turkey, and it's like socially acceptable.
You eat the whole turkey.
I don't eat the whole turkey myself. I eat a good chunk of it, but
Okay,
it's not
alright.
just me.
No, that's feasible. That's feasible.
Counterpoint, I hate food.
That'll
hate
do
food.
it.
That will do it. That's why you don't like
that will do
Thanksgiving.
it.
But I'm
Controversial take, food sucks.
But I promise you, you're in like the 0.1 percentile that people who agree with you that food sucks.
You're, like, inhuman, Riley? You don't like have food?
It's not that I don't have food, it's just that, like, I do not enjoy eating food.
Well, it's a good thing that we're going to be able to hear more about Thanksgiving and on everything with that an hour too. But going back to our story, you know, this story is this story is kind of different than like the MTA one earlier, where we can see that this is coming from past mistakes. You know, this is coming from the airports learning from their mistakes, and especially with last year and the disaster that came from that. You know, there's air travel is very fickle, and it's not just like cars where you can just have as many cars as you want on the road. Even if it causes traffic, you can only have a certain amount of planes in the air, and they can only go if there's a licensed professional behind that can work it. So last year a lot went wrong with that. So it's a really good thing that this year they're taking all of these precautions, because really in a time like this, especially when so many people are flying there, so much can go wrong. I mean, you really never know, and you always have to have a backup plan. So it's really good to see that they are making all of these strides to make sure that their customers don't have to worry this holiday season, and they can just simply go and visit their families and have a nice break instead of having to sit in an airport and be upset.
No, you're right, and luckily we're not in that scenario of like having to worry about those flight concerns. But hopefully, people who are in that scenario, they can have those safe flights and have it be as seamless as possible.